This video is brought to you by GameMaker. And if you've ever wanted to get into game development, GameMaker does this really crazy thing where it's free. Just start making and only pay when you want to release your game to the world commercially.
It's fast, it's user-friendly, and there's easy-to-follow tutorials, plus a dedicated community to help answer even my questions. How make man jump? GameMaker is a 2D game engine that's helped bring some of yours and my favorite recent experiences to life, like UFO 50, Chicory, Anton Blast, and of course, Yahtzee's own Starstruck Vagabond.
Ooh, we talking about GameMaker? I love that program, it's so easy to use. As well as Starstruck Vagabond, I also used it to make all 12 projects in my 12 games in 12 months Dev Diary challenge. And I couldn't believe how much sex I got out of that. None. I got none at all. Which I couldn't believe.
So what are you waiting for? Head on over to the GameMaker link in the description and start cracking away today, because we want to play your game.
Yeah, looking through this list, I'm seeing one of you made Armpit Fart Tycoon, and I've got several questions for you. Hello, and welcome to DevHeads, the podcast focused on the ins, outs, and goings on of game development, with host experience ranging from indie to AA. There will be AAA here soon. Tina's power tripped the moment we were starting.
Yes, and I'm not being a bad co-host. Okay, I'm not just texting disinterested. I'm texting Tina to figure out what's going on. Her power just tripped because Los Angeles, I guess, and I'm checking in with her. She's going to be here in just a second. That's why I have my phone.
But for now, you've got me, Jay, the indie rep, and Mikey,
the AA rep, and a little flirtation with AAA too in my career. So I'll just have to hold that till Tina gets back.
You're in the middle, right? You're pushing on all fronts.
Naturally, I guess the a person characterized as AA would do a little bit of both while also doing AA. Yeah, I would say so. It's so, like, we've talked about this before. It's also soft, but yeah, Tina should be here soon, and then we'll have great representation.
Yeah, we'll have the full spectrum. But well, speak of the devil.
Hi.
Tina.
I'm on my phone until this shit starts working again.
Okay, cool. We're live now, so you're broadcasting that to the world. Just so you know.
Great. Show everyone the piece of paper with your IP address on it and what?
Yeah, there you go.
You maybe hold your social up to the camera. Can you do that?
Yeah, okay. Over the single.
There it is. It's inside your mouth.
It's all good. I hope everyone in chat's doing well. Good to speak to you. This is our first DevHeads of the year. We had some scheduling things that were going on, so we had to push this one to a little bit later in the month. But we are back, and we're back on schedule, baby. So I hope everyone in chat's doing well.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And how you guys been? How's your new year been?
Pretty good. For me, this is actually a pretty well-timed show. I've actually just gotten back into VR a little bit. I've been playing a lot of VTOL VR, which has been super fun. Reconnected with some old buddies, played some Halo, lots of Kingdom Come 2 still. I had a pretty good break of gaming and relaxing. I did like my family trip back to Jersey earlier in the month of December. So for the holiday, I just got to kind of relax, which was nice.
Nice. What about you, Tina?
I just hung out with the kids, tried to survive.
Oh, shit. Try to survive.
See, that's it's not turning out too well.
Maybe. Okay. Tina, can you hear it?
I did not
look at her face. Shaking her head.
It's perfectly timed.
Somebody get that. I can't catch a break.
Just consider me a mess for 2026. I'm sorry, everyone.
No, it's okay. It's okay. But I gotta say that to hear that from a woman sitting on the stairs has a certain energy to it.
I'm just like,
it looks like you're in an apartment complex stairs.
Yeah.
But hey, if you're a mess currently, Tina, there's nowhere to go but up. So
yeah.
Up is down.
Let me check if my thing's ready.
Yeah.
Oh,
we get here in HD.
Yes. Is this gonna be okay with this?
I think we could hear you. I think it's okay. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
And look, if you could
Twain.
Oh shit.
Okay.
Hey,
Oh,
whoa.
wow, that was smooth.
HD,
All right, it's already
say
looking
something.
up.
I'm so sorry, everybody.
Hey,
fine.
there we go.
Okay.
Out of your control.
We can officially start the pod.
Yes.
Yeah. What are we
I
talking
guess
about
for me, yeah. We're talking about, well, we've got a range of topics. The overarching one that we've got in the title that you probably clicked on this episode for, which is it gaming hardware cooked in 2026? This is quite a broad topic. And to kind of kick that off, we want to talk about something that's kind of close to one of our members, which is Meta and their whole closure of a lot of their big VR companies. Because you have some dealings with Meta. You've had them before, haven't you, Mikey?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I mean, I just was talking to one of my friends, one of my old coworkers who got laid off recently. So yeah, that's the bad news to, I guess, kick off with, unfortunately, is Meta did a bunch of layoffs. I believe it was 10%. They shut down Twisted Pixel Games, who did Deadpool. They shut down Sanzaru Games, which is Asgard's Wrath, which is a big one for Meta. I remember that being big even when I was there. And Armature, who did the Resident Evil 4 VR game, which was just fucking fantastic. Like that game, dude. I was I guess to give some background first, I was working at Meta from I guess would have been 2021, 2023. I got laid off. Most of my team did, most of the Onward team, and it was rough. Not all of us did, but I could say that, yeah, I mean, there were more layoffs. There were more people that got affected who were part of that group, and that's one of the people with whom I was talking, and it really sucks. It's disappointing. It's also sorry, they didn't completely shut down, but the studio Camouflage, who did Batman: Arkham Shadow, they also got hit too. I don't think they got laid off completely, but they were hit. So,
how many people do you think that is, Mikey? If you had to put a number to it,
I'm really not sure because I wasn't too familiar with those other teams. I think in total the amount of jobs lost was over 300, but as far as like the ones just on those teams. It easily could be that was the 300 plus, but there might be other people. Not totally sure, but it would.
Yeah, the number I have here is 331 across the board, which is
it's like one AAA studio.
Quite substantial. Yeah.
I mean, it's VR is in a pretty difficult space. It's been that way for years. Like I think it's probably worth noting that like when game layoffs started happening and shit got bad, Meta was one of the first. I was one of the first to get hit in 2023, and I think part of that is because VR has taken so much risk and investment. It's just a very risky thing. We were talking about this before the podcast, but there's a lot of barriers to entry when it comes to VR. It's new tech. It's one of the few forms of entertainment where like it could just make you sick and there's nothing you can do about it unless you want to like train your body to be okay with it. There's it's different controls. There's a lot of like it's difficult to innovate in the space because you get all this investment, there's all this pressure, and you can't take much risk. So it's in a very difficult spot. And I think this kind of reflects that spot, and it also reflects a little bit of the strategy that I think Meta is abandoning a little.
It's interesting because you look at a VR headset like the Meta Quest 3 right now is about $500, right? And so for gamers to participate in VR gaming, you're potentially sacrificing getting a new console to get the VR experience.
Which your friends will most likely have over having VR headsets.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's a hard sell for younger generations.
Yeah. But I'm curious, Mikey, did you get your headset on your own or did you get it from working there? The reason why I ask is because that makes it a lot easier to sort of jump into it and explore other games, right? If you were given the headset.
Right, yeah. It's both really. It like depends on the team and it depends on like the generation that we're talking. They definitely, like Meta gives hardware for the work that they have to do. And it's actually kind of difficult. Like working in VR itself, and I know you know about this, is hard because there's not like, if you guys are familiar with like Halo style headsets where like it wraps around your head and it comes down and then you can kind of flip it up and look at a screen or talk to somebody. The Quests are not like that. And it's pretty difficult because you're still working on a computer, right? You're still in the editor and you just have to keep doing this kind of thing. And I still do it now. You crane your neck out and you like lift up your headset and you put it on top of your head and you kind of tilt your head back to try to make sure that you can see the screen and it's not going to fall either side. And then you do your work and then you put it back down. And there were connectivity issues too. There's still connectivity issues. I mean, even just recently, the Link software, the Air Link software that lets you take a Quest and then play a PC VR game was on the fritz. And there were a lot of technical challenges and ergonomic challenges with working in VR that I feel like I experienced. And it was that was just another piece of it that I had to get used to as somebody who previously worked, in 2D games or flat games, as we called them.
And do you think that these closures are because these games aren't making the money that Meta believed they would? Do you think that might be the reason?
I think so, yeah. I think that's definitely it. I think that there's not pulling in enough, and I think this is just like my theorizing, but part of the strategy I think that's proving to not be working is Meta leaned really hard into, and it's not just them, others too, branded games, right? Look at the studios that either got dissolved or had a lot of layoffs, right? Working on Deadpool, Batman, or ports like Resident
Evil. Yeah.
Asgard's Wrath is the only unique IP. And again, this isn't unique to Meta, but you could see that they were trying to go, well, we'll bring people onto the platform by borrowing a lot of IPs and working with them. And there's like lots of stories of like trying to get certain IPs and it not working out and all this time wasted. It's very difficult, and it's hard for me, like as a gamer and as a dev. There was also this kind of culture at Meta that we sort of worked against sometimes, where they're kind of new as a studio for making video games proper, right? They very much had this. I mean, it's Facebook, right? They had this advertisers mentality, which we kind of butted up against as developers. It wasn't unique to any particular team. It was just everybody who's doing game development with Meta had to work with this. It's not like they were unsupportive. It's just like you're kind of talking a different language sometimes. And then other times it could be bordering on unsupportive or actually unsupportive.
Yeah, not used to the flow of how games are made. But then again, as you were describing, and I know, Tina, you've mentioned about working next door to specific VR devs. Like the process of actually working on a VR game itself is like even more so of the Wild West than just standard game development. It's like can make you ill.
So I wanted to kind of touch on the hardware real quick before I get into the Respawn experience. So the price point for a headset is just as much as getting, like the new Switch 2 or a PlayStation or an Xbox. And I think what a lot of gamers may not know, which I wanted to share, is that a lot of these companies sell their consoles at a loss, right? Like the amount of money it takes to make one of these consoles usually is more expensive than whatever the consumer pays. And the hope is that because, over like a 5-year, 10-year span, people are still going to continue to adopt these consoles. The hardware gets cheaper. Therefore, they're eventually making a profit. But the hope is just to build enough of a big player base that all the games that are made for these consoles sell, right? Because if you don't have the players with the console, then you're going to get less people buying the games. So it's almost a trade-off for like the Xbox and the PlayStations, right? And the Nintendos. In the case of Facebook, I don't know if you can speak to this, Mikey, but do you think that they had this understanding of hardware sales in order to like build that player base? Because for me personally, I don't know many people at all that play with the Meta, and it's pretty rare. And then I wanted to get into the dev experience that Jay asked me about.
Yeah, no, I would say they definitely did. Like that wasn't something that they didn't understand. They talk publicly about saying, yeah, like we need to sell these. We're trying to bring people onto the platform. This was, I feel like another point of contention that's worth mentioning here is, in addition to them, like, wanting to sell a lifestyle device that was also a gaming device, that was kind of part of the problem, I think, is you're, as a company, your strategy, like you're really splitting your resources on this extremely risky thing, and you're trying to take risks in all these different spaces. The company is also huge. There's a lot of problems when it comes to actually producing things at Meta because so many people are involved and everybody wants to, put their thumbprint on it. It's a challenge to be working as a game developer and to get this impression and talk to leadership and hear like, well, like we'll try to get you everything that you need, but also like we're juggling all these different things, and we're not trying to sell the platform as a gaming device only, right? There's the exercise component, there's the work assistant device component, right? Like all these different pieces moving forward. That's another piece that I think is worth noting.
That's a big difference.
Even if you want to focus on the game dev stuff, that doesn't mean leadership's going to support you, right?
Yeah. Meanwhile, the Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendos are like, here's our console. Here's like a debug kit. Have fun with it. Please make games for this. You know what I mean?
And it's not like
whatever you want when you need it.
And I don't mean to say like, Meta was supportive of devs, It wasn't like they were only first party folks. Like they were buying up studios like ours, right? Like Downpour, where I worked. That team wasn't a unique case, basically. But it was there's a lot of challenges. I'm seeing a question here in the chat. Was Zuckerberg even interested in games? More like getting game devs for the metaverse, by understanding. He was interested in games. Like he told us that he played Onward and he liked it. He's thought that he was a gamer for sure. You guys might remember when he was talking about San Andreas VR like years ago when he did that announcement. He was like, I think San Andreas is one of the best games ever. So like as an individual, he's definitely interested in games. And I think as a strategist for his company, he saw games as being an important part of the ecosystem. But even if that was his personal sentiment and part of the strategy, the reality of what I think Meta is encountering is they've spread out so much. This device has to do so much. They can't iterate fast enough. There's heat problems. Like you can only make the device so heavy, so make it so hot. There's really a lot that had to be tackled, and that's worth noting. You can't understate that.
Yeah. So when I was working at Respawn, there was a team working on a shooter for the VR space, and I appreciated and respected the rules that were put in place for those developers. So the biggest thing was when you have that headset on and you're trying to make a game, you have no visibility into who's around you, what's going on around you, if someone's right behind you. So we were all told we're not allowed to touch them or approach them if they're working with the headset on, which is, I guess a no-brainer when you think about it. But when you work in a game dev space, we act like a big bunch of kids. Yeah, exactly. So you'd be like, "Hey, what's up?" And they'd be like, "Oh my god." So it was a lesson we learned right away. We're like, "Okay, don't mess with them." The other was that we weren't allowed to take photos either, because sometimes you'd see a guy just like, something on his face. For a really long period of time, basically. So it wasn't like the most flattering position to be in.
It's not flattering. Working in VR is like, and I don't mean to overstate, or sorry, go ahead. Yeah, then I'll make my comment.
No, go ahead.
I don't mean to overstate it, but like for me at least, and granted, like I was only doing it for a couple years ultimately, it was pretty uncomfortable, but we would talk internally about it. Like people who were pretty seasoned VR devs with whom I worked would be like, ugh, like we would complain because it's just honestly pretty inconvenient to have to like slip the headset on and off and deal with connectivity, deal with the fucking audio devices. Oh my God, the Oculus headset and the sound devices and what it does to your computer. Yeah. It's so frustrating the way it'll activate or make itself default. That kind of shit gets in the way of game development or of any work. And that was like a real problem that we faced.
Yeah, and I remember seeing a few of the devs always reaching for Tylenol or Advil at the office. Said it's not the easiest.
Yeah. You had to take your jack-in drugs, like it was fucking Cyberpunk 2077. Yeah. I mean, I had Dramamine, like I had anti-nausea stuff. I was lucky because I was able to train myself kind of naturally into getting used to it. And most people that I worked with like did not get sick. But also that was like our game. There's certain games where it'll give you a headache or it'll make you sick to your stomach. But I think everybody gets used to it. Like you can get used to it. But if you're not used to it, it sounds like, your studio Respawn, like it was new for them. I can imagine they'd have the painkillers ready.
Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah. It's something I was telling you guys about when we were having our meeting about this is for The Escapist, made an episode of my show on Half-Life Alyx, and I like to try and get nice cinematic shots and do unique things in my videos. But to do that while wearing the headset, I had to mod it to detach the camera from the headset and float it around and find things. But the only way I could view it was in the headset itself. It would instantaneously make me motion sick. But I was spending like 8 hours a day in it for multiple days in the week. And I can't imagine what it's like to be at the forefront of creating this technology where you're constantly feeling that, right? Like if the FOV is slightly off or something's weird and it just instantly makes your body like reject it.
Yeah.
Eric's got the video up.
There's moments. I'm thinking of moments where like you get that effect.
And it's absolutely horrible. And I can't imagine what it's like to be doing that every day for years.
Yeah.
But look, people, and I don't mean to overstate it, right? People work on ships, right? People deal with nausea. They take the drug that they need, or your body just gets used to it. And like, it wasn't all development was in the headset. It wasn't all on the computer. Like it was a balance. And
of course,
some days you're more in or not. So like, it was tolerable. It was okay. Like I was sensitive to sickness when I started, but like after training myself up, I don't know, might have taken a few weeks. I actually remember looking at my stopwatch and being like, nice, I was in there for 45 minutes and I didn't get sick. And that was cool. And then certain games are easier. Like I don't know if you guys have heard of like the cockpitting effect. That's maybe a colloquial thing that I made up, but I feel like I heard it. If you play certain games where you're in a car, right, or you're in a jet, or you're in something that's like if you're virtually seated and you are also real life seated, it's easier on your brain, right? Because you're grounded in a thing, because not everything is moving around at a weird sensation, like your body and your inner ear, they get it. That being said, like I've been playing a lot of VTOL VR, and like initially I'm like, oh, this is great, I'm in the cockpit. But when you start fucking turning and burning, it does get pretty intense. And that's that's just a real thing that developers have to deal with. But it's tolerable, I think.
There was a book I just read called Invisible Women over the break. And in it, the author says that the VR headsets were made for a one-size-fits-men approach. Basically, women were incorporated into the development process. The weight of it, how it fit on your head. So a lot of women tend to complain more about motion sickness and other discomforts like the physical fit and all that. So if there's any women out there listening, watching, I'd love to know if you use a VR headset and how you feel about it. And hopefully we hear some positive feedback.
I would be curious to hear that too. That's interesting. We certainly had women on our team, but I hear what you're saying. You're talking about like in the initial design.
Yeah.
I might chalk, and I'm not trying to sound defensive of manhood here. I might chalk part of that up to just some of the honest ergonomic challenges where like the headsets just had to be heavy in the beginning. But what you're saying would also make sense. I'd be curious to hear other female perspectives, or maybe check out that part of the book that you're talking about. It sounds like you're saying.
Like that's been a thing with controllers for years, right? The very early adopters of making game consoles, the controllers were made for male hands rather than
the NES
hands.
controller was brutal on my little 5-year-old hand. I was like,
the original Xbox controller. It's a brick with
the Duke.
The Duke.
Tell me more, Tina. So, like, what were some of the challenges that this author had, and that some women had specifically? Was it like it didn't fit their face shape? Was it like a head strength issue? Because the only reason I'm saying what I'm saying is because they try to make them as light as possible for everybody. But I want to hear more what you're saying.
So I remember her saying that the distance between the eyes varies a lot between men and women.
Interesting.
Right, which is like a big thing.
That's your IPD, yeah.
Yeah, and then the way we visually process stuff is different than men, apparently. I don't know. Like I the book was pretty fascinating, but yeah.
No. What you're saying there is actually a good point, because IPD is interpupillary distance. I forget. It's like the space in between your two eyeballs, like the physical space, and that with the Quest 2, I think it's 3 settings. And I don't remember what the numbers are, but I've struggled to find what works for me, and it feels like it's just never ideal. But that's definitely a good point. They probably just had to average and say all right, well, these are probably the best 3 that we're going to get.
Yeah.
But I can easily see women getting excluded in that process and favoring male IPD.
That's essentially what happened. This whole book is about how data only is collated for men, right? And usually women are excluded from that data set.
Yeah.
So in theory, like that. I mean, that means we aren't a part of the development process. Anyways, we're getting a little bit off topic. I just wanted to share that.
That does make sense. That I see what you mean. It's like those videos of black people not getting tracked by video cameras because they didn't test it with black people and different skin tones. That's a problem in tech. Is there's like an overrepresentation. But anyway, back on track. What were we talking about?
My question for you two is, what do you think is the future for VR, and is there a future for VR?
So, as an outsider, not really comprehending too much about what Meta's doing, right? Just kind of seeing it from the surface level.
Yeah.
Their sunglasses seems pretty fascinating, and if they could manage to make games that work with those sunglasses, I could see a really cool future with that.
More of like the AR side rather than VR.
Yeah.
But you don't see a future for virtual reality, like with the Steam Frame and continued Meta Quest projects and stuff like that.
I've never adopted it myself. I would love to give it a shot, but I do think that there's restrictions because of like my head size and stuff. So I think that if, a company were to offer different sizes and then sort of customize it to your face, I think that's the biggest thing. Like, we all don't have the same facial structure. That's the biggest, I think, problem to crack.
Yeah. There's at least one VR headset designer that does that. God, I can't believe I'm forgetting the name. I want to say it's the big screen team, but I'm not sure. Where you can actually get like something fitted to your face. That's less for weight and like ergonomic comfort, I think. And I think it's a little more for light seal. Because the problem with VR is like you'll put the headset on and you'll still see light coming in, and it can be disorienting or just unimmersive. But I think what you're bringing up is a good point. I don't know of anything that they try to fit it to your face and your head and make it more comfortable in like a generalized way.
Yeah, I just feel like it's a more expensive gamble to invest in VR as a consumer, right? Because if I have the $500-600 to spend, I kind of want to spend it wherever my friends are.
And where the majority of the games are, right?
Yes, which is, that too. Like the quality of the games. So I do feel like it's almost like you're the rich kid on the block if you got the VR headset, and if you have the room for it and the space and the proper environment with a nice chair and all that, like you're not having to decide between one game every 6 months or whatever, right? You're probably just buying whatever you want.
Yeah, a lot of people in the community call them privilege goggles for that reason. Because
I haven't heard that one.
You have to be privileged to own it, which is true. You do have to have the space. You do have to have the extra cash.
We got a comment.
Oh yeah, we got a few. We've actually got a few donos before we move on to some of the other hardware
Consoles?
stuff.
Yeah,
I'd love to take a look at some of these donos. Any donation you put in, guys, goes directly to supporting this wonderful show and also everyone here at Second Wind. And we love your support. Thank you so much. It gives $1.99.
Why'd you yell?
Because they're called
Oh, their name is Python shit. Go on.
It scared me. I got it.
Sorry.
Can I eat my sandwich while you read these?
Of course you can. Yeah, it's real sandwich hours. You can munch on that while we're doing donos. As soon as it ends, even if you've got some in your mouth, I want you to spit it out. Yeah.
Okay.
Did you see Tina's little motion there? Little sandwich gremlin.
So says, why don't games let you save while falling? Okay, interesting question. So a lot of that, I've actually had an interesting experience with this in a game recently. So a lot of it will have to do with like how the game is calculating where you are in the world, and when you are on the ground, it is calculating your coordinates, so that when you save the game, it's loading you back into that coordinate with the exact same quest state. Blah blah blah. Not all games work like that, but a lot do. My interesting experience with this, to say why you can't save while falling is because they currently do not have your coordinates because of like how you're moving. So they'll just wait for you to be stationary just to be safe, so they don't have extra complications. The interesting thing I had with this was I was playing World of Warcraft, and constantly while you're playing WoW, because it's a big multiplayer game, it's trying to calculate where you are in the world at all times, so it can display it to everyone else in the game. But I'm playing a druid and can transform into a bird and move very quickly. But there's a bug in the game where if you are moving too quick and you hit the ground fast enough, the game freaks out because it doesn't know exactly where you are. So it just disconnects you from the game. It boots you out and you have to reconnect and load back in. So I have to actively try and like transform into cat form before I land, which is kind of funny that I'm turning into a feline to land, just so I don't DC, because they have this same issue, right?
This is just, I'm trying to think of games, because I definitely have played games where you can save in any condition or state.
Yeah.
But I also have, I've also played games where you can't. My guess is it's very case dependent, sure, but like my guess is usually about when you're loading something, a lot has to happen all at once. A lot's going to load at once. And if you're in a state where you're like really mobile and falling and like we don't fully know where you are, you can get stuck in stuff, right? Or you can end up somewhere where a calculation is happening while another calculation is happening, and it glitches out because you get stuck in something else.
It's like a safety thing.
That's my best guess, but I'm also not very technical, so take it with a grain of salt.
I don't know the context of this question, but it could also just be a really shitty user experience. Like you respawn and you're like, oh, I'm falling to my death.
Oh no, I'm falling. Yeah.
Actually, that's a good point too. That's just a design thing. Is like if you jump and you're falling, there's a chance that you could just die. And sure, like anytime you save in a game, there's a chance you could die. But like, why not take one off the board? You know, why not protect against something?
Does anyone remember
safety.
playing Halo multiplayer co-op? Anyone remember those good old days? Fucking fantastic times.
What, a few weeks ago? Yes, Tina.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I'm still on my Halo kick, dude. I got back into it.
I just remember my friend fell off a ledge. I stood as close to the ledge as possible to look over at them falling, and we kept respawning over that like canyon.
Oh yeah.
You spawn them in a death trap. That's great.
Yeah,
I love it.
Classic Halo fuckery.
Yeah.
They have the power.
Like, say please, and I'll move. Anyways.
So the next few donos, we got Sussy Guru with €5. Thank you so much, bud. And said, cooked like the water that cools the AI data centers that eat all the RAM and storage that gaming hardware needs. Yeah, that's that's something we'll have a lot to say on when we get into the hardware stuff. But you are completely right. Squirrel Squad 420, $5. Thank you so much. Said, I found vertical movement to be the only movement that bothered me. I just started closing my eyes when I had to go upstairs or ladders. Just close your eyes. Dude, I've got to go up some stairs. Just close my eyes.
I do that shit too, man. That's one of the. I think I might have alluded to it earlier. That's one of the things that would get me is, and it gets a lot of people, just like this. You know, the person is you. As soon as you're like, there's a lot of lateral movement that's kind of okay, and even if it's not okay to your brain, you get used to it because most video game movement is lateral. But when you go up or down some stairs, oof, or if you like jump out of a helicopter, and shit like that.
It's with all of it, it's important to understand why motion sickness happens in the first place, which is, as Mikey mentioned earlier, your balance is maintained by fluid inside your ears. And when your brain like visually sees stuff moving or interprets yourself as moving, but cannot match that up with the fluid moving in your ears, your brain believes that you're hallucinating and makes you want to vomit because it believes you have ingested something that's making you hallucinate. So it wants you to be sick. This is why motion sickness happens in cars, on boats, and also in VR, because you have the head tracking movement of the headset, which is one-to-one, which is why a lot of stationary VR situations that Mikey was explaining are fine, because it is all one-to-one. As soon as you start moving in space that isn't being done by your body, your brain freaks out. Hence why a lot of games do the, I call it the throwing your shoes movement. you just teleport around, because what you were doing is just teleporting to another stationary point. You're not actively moving. For me, for instance, I always get sick doing the locomotion, which is using an analog stick to move around.
And are you doing snap turning? Sorry to interrupt. Are you doing snap turning or like smooth turning when you do that?
No, I had a relatively large living room where I used VR a lot in England. So I could actually do all of my turning around myself, and like small spatial movements I could do myself, and then I would just teleport myself around. I did the Half-Life Alyx completely like that. But it is true, you can develop like your like VR legs by getting used to locomotion, but you have to go through a lot of hardship to get there. So yeah, that's one big reason why going upwards is like vertical movement is a huge cause of that sickness, is because your body isn't doing that. So it just freaks out and goes, you've eaten a mushroom, time to vomit.
Yep.
You know.
It's worth noting here, I think, Helicon, you brought it up. Teleporting is what made Skyrim VR viable for me. Without that, it was Hurl City. For anybody who's like listening to this and is thinking like, fuck, there's no way I'm getting a VR headset. Don't worry. Like for one, as I was saying earlier, like you can get used to it. It's not that bad. And I'll share an anecdote about a study later if there's time. But you have teleporting in a lot of different games, not in all of them. And that really eliminates nausea completely for a lot of people, because at that point, your brain's not doing anything weird. You're just standing still, looking around. And then when you see somewhere where you want to go, you either walk over there, because in your VR space, you have a room that's big enough to walk in, and your head and your avatar go through the virtual space, or you point at it with the controller, you press a left analog stick up, and you see a beam, and wherever that beam lands, and when you let go, you teleport over to there, and it kind of like fades to black and then fades back in. There's other things too, where like we can do like a scuba, like a goggle effect that like kind of narrows your FOV when you move, which reduces nausea. It's not like you got to train up on it all the time. And by the way, some people just don't fucking get sick. And I don't know what the studies are, what the proportions are, but there's plenty of people who just don't get sick from it.
Yeah. It's only the locomotion. I've never got sick in VR for any other reason apart from the locomotion. It's definitely worth it though. I absolutely love VR. I'm going to be getting a Steam frame, which we'll talk about in a moment after we've gone through the next few donos. But yeah, if you're thinking about it and you have the means to do so, I think it's definitely worth giving it a go. For Looming, $5 says, I hear a lot of people say that they want AR over VR, but is any development happening there? The last thing I can recall is Pokemon Go. Well, my question is, what can you do with AR gaming? Because a lot of gaming is about transporting you to another world and transporting you somewhere else. But with AR, it can only really modify the space you're in rather than taking you somewhere different. If you're like, oh, well, I just want it to like visually show me a different world and I want to walk around in it, that's VR. That's not augmented reality. So there's not much you can do apart from like putting a creature inside the space, or like maybe having a character jump around and on your countertops and all over your furniture and stuff like that. This is me with the very narrow view on what you can do with AR. Maybe there are some great developers making headway in that space. I don't know.
I would say I agree with you. Like, there's some pretty physical limitations because, yeah, just like you're saying, AR is dependent on a space. It's still a cool area to be creative in.
For sure.
Lots of cool creativity happens when you are limited. And if like all you could do is run around in your living room or your bedroom and just have 3D things appear in front of you, how would you make that fun? And yeah, there's plenty of games that are like that. But yeah, it's so limited. I think that there's only so much that you can do. And some people will argue VR is just kind of like a novelty, that it can't be that innovative or creative or lasting as far as entertainment goes. I don't agree with that. But like if people can make that argument about VR, they can really make that strongly with AR too, unfortunately, when it comes to gaming, at least.
I think the actual space that is going to be the one that the full innovation is going to be pushed in. And I know Valve and also what they called like Tesla and all that bollocks are making advancements in it, which is having a chip in your brain that makes you hallucinate stuff and you can control it. Like,
and when that happens, like I call that full dive VR. Like
full dive.
Humanity is.
Yahtzee said the exact same thing. VR. Humanity is done. At that point, we can be simulated in computers.
We can't be gaming critics anymore. We're not like, what's it? Just people will start living whatever life they want. So like that's a little. It feels almost strange to me for me to talk about that as far as like what would gaming experiences be like there, because at that point we're on the holodeck.
It won't be in our lifetime, but we have to start thinking about going to be the pinnacle of where it wants to go.
Here's what, this is a slight tangent, but then we'll get back to the questions. I swear. I really am kind of hopeful for treadmills to be good. Right, VR treadmills, they're not that good so far, generally. I haven't used them, but from what I've been told and from the research I did on them, because it feels very slidey. But as soon as we get like a treadmill that feels like you're actually walking in 360 degrees, it's not sliding, and you don't have to like lurch forward.
Silly. I'm watching
it does look silly. It unfortunately looks pretty silly.
But VR does always look silly. Nobody looks cool doing VR.
I don't want to... I'm not laughing because I don't support it. It's funny looking.
Some important things in life, Tina. People look silly when they sleep, right? They have silly faces.
Can you imagine? You have like a basement with all that stuff downstairs. And you're like, tell my friends I'm not home, and you go down there and you're just like running.
And you just That's like the horror movie. You're expecting to go down and see like a horror grandma, but actually you just see your mate playing Half-Life Alyx on his treadmill.
And he's leaning forward, breathing hell. Oh, hey, man. And imagine like yelling at mom, I'm busy. And he's just lurched forward. But look, like I think once the treadmills get more comfortable and more flexible and just better, like a 360 treadmill, I've seen at least one concept, and affordable, obviously. Yeah, for sure. You're right. Think about that's going to go really far, because then if you could fucking play Half-Life Alyx or Half-Life 2 VR like Skyrim, and you could just walk up that mountain. That's fucking wild.
Dude, just lock me in a closet.
Tech that puts it at an incline.
It's just, it goes back to like the title of this podcast, though. It's like the hardware and the pricing, and this is a very much a privileged.
100%. But like that's the circle.
That's why Jay's saying, right? We have to make it affordable. Like, but it has to like technically, it has to exist first before we can make it affordable. Like someone's got to go, which is largely how like I think Meta is trying to operate with VR, right? Like they're trying to kick shit off and take the losses. Go ahead, Jay.
There should be like you should use wheelies in conjunction with your treadmill. You know, bring wheelies back. I think there's an idea there.
That's the huge problem. I've mentioned this on a bunch of podcasts before, and Tina actually mentioned a bunch of this earlier, which is they might be making a loss. They're not really. They're trying to make a market so the games can generate money, so that the technology can become cheaper, so they can make money in the future. But the problem is nobody's like a large majority of people are not buying VR because there are no games on it that they want to play, and nobody's making games that people will want to play on VR because nobody's fucking buying it. So it's this endless circle of like they're both fighting each other. Like what we would need is a bunch of like big games to come out on it that will be enough for people to be like, I'm willing to drop $500 on this thing. And I understand why the devs aren't investing that money into it, because they're not going to make a return on it, most likely. And it's just this endless cycle. And I think one of the big things with the Steam Frame coming out, which is the new VR headset, I think a huge issue with VR is the fact that at the moment there are so many different headsets and there's so many different iterations of those headsets that it's very difficult for a consumer to understand what to buy and what is the benefit of buying X, Y, and Z. If Meta kind of take their foot off the gas and move away from VR and move more into AR and their Ray-Bans and bollocks, Steam will have a huge portion of that market like in their ecosystem, which means I'd hope more people would be willing to buy it because it'll be one of the only cutting edge ones available. and then the market will be more solidified, which means devs might be more eager to make games for it, which means consumers will only have one place to go to get those games, and it might boost it. That's my hope, because I don't want VR to die. I want this to be a thing, because I absolutely love VR.
Well, here's the crux of like everything, the foundation of everything that we're going to talk about today is the fact that for the first time, I think ever, actually, maybe since Bitcoin became a thing, people buying hardware, usually when you make that investment in buying hardware, you know that it's going to depreciate a lot because in theory, people are making bigger and better things and the price is going to go down because there's more surplus and stuff, right? Yeah. So you buy, like the biggest things everyone's talking about right now is RAM. Buy some DDR5, you're like, I'm going to invest now in some good shit so that in 2 or 3 years I can still use it, but I know it's going to be cheaper if I waited, right? That's not the case anymore. Anyone that invested in making their own PC last year, all of their like hardware pieces probably appreciated a lot. Right?
I bought a incredible gaming PC last year with a shit ton of RAM in it, and guess what? The RAM inside is worth more than I paid for the PC.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
It's nuts.
Yeah, so I think this is the crux of everything that we're talking about today is, because everything is going up, and I personally can't see a world where technology keeps evolving because the price of research and development is going to go up much more.
Yeah.
So I unfortunately feel like everything's going to stagnate and that game devs are going to like optimize whatever they got now because they're going to want to have their games work with the player base's hardware, right? Like if PC gamers aren't going to get like, the latest and greatest in the next few years, then why would they invest in the latest technology from like Nvidia right now? I don't know.
And that's why I see a lot of value in the Steam frame and also the GameCube or whatever it's called, the PC console that Steam are making. That's meant to be more consumer friendly. The Steam machine, that's the one.
Steam machine.
I prefer GameCube. Because I think it's going to be a way. I guarantee you, they have not announced the prices yet of the Steam frame or the GameCube.
They're probably going to be much more than I think. Anticipated.
And because correct me if I'm wrong, chat. I need to get the data on this. I think Steam have historically been losing money on their VR headsets since the beginning. Like they're trying to make it a thing. They're trying to create the ecosystem for it. And I think maybe we'll see. That's what they're going to do with the GameCube and the Steam frame, which is just make it affordable. They're going to lose money on it because they've got the money to burn on it, just so they can create the space of being like, if you want to build a PC in 2027, your choices are pay $5,000 or pay whatever the GameCube is charging, which means there'll be this one unified machine that developers can aim for. Like we make this run well on the GameCube, and it means that consumers will be more enticed by that because it will hopefully be cheaper. Games will run well on it, and then they're gonna have the PC version of a console, and I think that's very attractive for Steam because they just want more people buying stuff on Steam. They don't particularly want, because they make 30% on every game sold, right? So if they get people in the door with the GameCube, they're going to make hand over fist on the games. So I can see them actually coming out on top of this, even if they make a loss on it. I do, however, think the GameCube is not going to be anything lower than $1,000. Like it's a gaming PC. It's not going to be cheap, even if they do make a loss.
Yeah. It's going to be, I think that's one of the ways some people are getting around the fact that if you're a PC gamer, right, it's a really shitty time right now, especially if you want to make or upgrade your rig. Pre-built PCs seem to be the way to go, especially if like the Best Buys and stuff are just sitting on pre-built PCs from like a year or two ago because they sell for a cheaper price. And then if you were to take all those pieces apart and sell them individually, you probably make a profit. So I think that's one workaround people have been using is just buying pre-built PCs. just to share how ridiculous the pricing has gotten for RAM, and it's going to happen with CPUs and graphics cards at some point. But I've seen a ton of TikToks where kids are like duct taping all over their RAM, like it's a watch and wearing it. Like they're rich,
It's nuts. It is absolutely nuts how expensive they're getting.
It's really unfortunate. Yeah. So, yeah. Anyways.
Why is that happening is the question, because we have a little bit of an expert, someone who may have been on the news talking about this. Tina, why don't you tell us a little bit about your adventures on the news?
So crazy story. I was watching MC News, and they do this cool thing around 5 p.m. Pacific. I think it's 8 p.m. Eastern time. But there's a news anchor. His name is Gotti Schwartz. And he's spearheading like this new thing at NBC where they go live on TikTok and YouTube during his segment. So he talks to people behind the scenes during commercial breaks and stuff. And he also has the live chat open. Yeah. So I was there when it was only like 20, 30 people at the time. And I was telling him like, there's a RAM shortage. You got to talk about this. And so he actually interviewed me, which is really cool.
That is awesome.
But yeah, I only had a few moments on there where I was like, it's expensive, and then that was it. But
classic news interview cutting.
It's a lot of money, and then it was like, thank you, Tina. Like, you're welcome. But I looked into it, and so it's crazy. So if you see AI data farms or anything about AI, that is the reason why PC hardware, all hardware, is like going up, because there's a shortage. All of these manufacturers want to make their buku bucks by selling to the AI data farms that need all of this hardware, right? So it causes a shortage for the average consumer. You need RAM for like every fucking device that's smart in your home, right? Your like fridge, your washer dryer, you need it for cars, you need it for your cell phones, you need it for consoles, and we're focusing on the gaming segment part. Oh my God, sorry, do you hear my little Roomba? My Roomba needs one.
Dude, that Roomba's chugging
right
on
cue.
So
we don't
sorry.
hear the Roomba, but that's funny.
You talking about RAM?
Yeah, so
RAM, can I have
there's like 3 major manufacturers of RAM, right? And one of them is Micron in Idaho. And so I've heard murmurs from like colleagues that were at CES and stuff saying that the RAM shortage is going to continue on until like 2028, because the main AI culprit companies bought what they needed for their data centers up until like 2 years from now, right? So these manufacturers have to either build new factories to make more chips, or we're gonna have to keep eating shit and paying more money because there's a shortage.
That AI bubble needs to fucking burst quick sharp. Like,
well, it's pretty predatory how these data centers are popping up too. I don't know if you guys know, but when a company decides, hey, we're going to set up a data center here in this town, when they buy the land, they make the landowner sign an NDA saying they're not going to share what this land's going to be used for, so that the community does not have time to protest or go to their community, representatives and say like, we need to stop this.
That shouldn't be legal.
It's pretty crazy. Yeah, it's a new technology that's sucking up all the resources, and there's just a problem with there's no one regulating this right now, right? Like when a data center pops up, there's been a lot of discussions about how those people in those towns realize like, oh, my electricity bill has gone up a lot. Why is it $1,000? Last month it was only $150, and so a lot of these town folks are paying for the fact that all this energy is being used right next door. And I think there's a congresswoman looking into it right now. But like, look, it's like the wild fucking West. And I think gamers are at the forefront of it because gamers tend to be the ones that interact with hardware a lot every day, right? Especially in making your own PCs. So you're seeing it first. Like the average consumer, like your mom and dad and your grandparents aren't going to really realize until they're like, why is my fridge now, I don't know, $3,000?
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, it's absolutely terrible. There's lots of predatory things about it. And like, if you have been mildly concerned about the use of AI and all of these companies doing these terrible things with it, and you've just been like, oh, that's kind of bad, and you think, well, it's not going to affect me because I don't use Grok, I don't use all of these AI systems, I just stay away from it. It is going to start affecting you. Like, we need to think about, like, Tina, you were mentioning it when we had our meeting. The Switch 2 is probably going to go up in price. The next batch of Switch 2s to come out is going to be more expensive. Everything gaming or electronic wise is going to be more expensive because these fucking chodes are trying to make like AI images, and like, if you see someone using it, they are actively destroying the environment. These things are bad. AI might be one of the worst things to happen to society in the last like 20 years.
Well, it's like
terrible.
It's definitely like an industrial revolution, right? This is our moment in time where we're experiencing this, and the pain points of having something new, like, just cut across all of society. And yeah, if you're a gamer and you're going to be a late adopter of a new console, you may be paying more later because you waited, because maybe the hardware prices continue to go up,
which is like the opposite of what usually happens, right?
Yes, usually they get cheaper. And I would say the other problem with that, though, is like, you also have the other caveat of, well, our tariff's going to impact this, and our tariff's going to go up later, or that's a huge gamble too. You just don't know.
Yeah, it's grim, and that's why the Steam Frame and the GameCube, I genuinely just cannot hold on to the real name of that piece of hardware.
The Steam
GameCube. I like
Steam
GameCube.
Machine.
It's just the Steam Machine.
GameCube.
It's the Steam Frame.
The pricing of those is very, very interesting to me, because
well, there's no price
that's going to set the precedent. Sorry?
No prices.
There's no, Steam.
No prices yet.
They're supposed to come out earlier this year,
soon.
though, right?
Yeah.
Early 2026, but who knows what that means? And yeah, just as we're talking about the cost of RAM, like, who knows if that'll get delayed, right? With what's going on.
Yeah, it's a massive issue. But like, another big question is, what do we think Xbox and PlayStation are going to do for their, not just their current and the prices increases, also tariffs? Suck my ass. Like, those things are making all these things worse as well, because actually importing these chips and doing all that stuff is becoming more expensive. So that's going to hurt the consumer as well. But the question is, we'd already seen price increases from PlayStation on their consoles based on, I think it was just tariffs, no mention on RAM just yet. But what does that mean for future consoles, like the PlayStation 6 or whatever they're working on?
XS.
Exactly. the Xbox XS. Yeah, that's the one. How are they going to be priced, and how are they going to be? Because all of these companies, they're not our friends. They are trying to make money, and now they have an excuse to charge more, right? So that, it's not us trying to gouge you. It's the RAM, it's the AI, right? So we can charge $1,000 for the PS6, right? We can do that. We're justified in doing that because your fridge was $500, right? So what does that mean for Xbox and PlayStation? How are they going to price things? How are the consumers going to react? And also, are they going to be pushing towards maybe something else rather than actual consoles? Because they might make more money than that. I just
wanted to share a number with everyone. Corsair, 2 16 gigabyte DDR5 chips, $441 right now on Best Buy.
And how much RAM is that? Like, just by itself? Is that, how many gigs of RAM is that?
I don't know.
Is that like 8 gigs, 16?
It's 32 gigs.
32 gigs.
Yeah. Yeah, but
yeah.
You remember when like buying your graphics card was the most expensive part of building a PC?
Yeah, like, God forbid when it hits the graphics card market. Like,
yeah, it's gonna happen.
It's gonna be disgusting. Well, Nvidia, we found this out in our meeting last time, which was Nvidia have mentioned that they're going to be making less graphics cards going forward.
Yes,
and
but they have solution gamers. They're investing in cloud gaming services so you can play your favorite game on your
Jay's face.
jank ass PC or cell phone. I don't think it's very dystopian because it's going to be a, Netflix style service or whatever, subscription service. And it just seems it's dystopian, right?
We do need to.
Yeah.
I think it's worth noting here that like we already don't own the games that we play, right?
1,000%.
We buy permission.
Speak
to,
for yourself,
to download
girl.
And play.
No, I'm just kidding.
I don't see it. Where's your physical disc copy? Is it?
I don't have it
behind the camera. it's like, and I'm not, and obviously like. Look, there's GOG, right? There's other things. There are physical discs. You can own your games, but I'm willing to bet the majority of people watching this, and the three of us, the four of us, Eric, you too, like there's it's become kind of like already normalized to not own your stuff, but that doesn't, at the same time, that doesn't make like cloud gaming any less scary, because then it's just another layer. Then it's like we're renting the service. We're back to fucking GameFly, right? and who remembers GameFly, right?
Oh,
we're back to owning games through a subscription service, and the Xbox Game Pass does their thing. It's not like the most dystopian thing, but it's definitely concerning. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Google's tried it with Stadia.
Yeah,
I don't think the industry was ready for that. Right.
Well, I think the world isn't ready because not everybody has good enough internet, dude. Like even a lot of places in America that are like super well populated, and America like has this great history of tech and stuff. There's a lot of places where like you just can't get internet that's reliable or fast enough. And think about all the other places in the world and how they'd struggle with that.
Well, it's
gotta
just
get your
pushing
Starlink
gaming,
set up.
Gotta build your cyber
it's just
cafes.
pushing,
I guess,
gaming more and more into the world of like privilege of, well, you can only build a gaming PC if you've got a couple, like at least
couple grand,
$4 or $5 grand to spend. Oh, okay. Well, I don't have the money to pay for that. Okay, what's my own alternative? Well, at the moment, let's say we peer a few years into the future, PlayStation and Xbox have their full cloud gaming systems. Oh, okay. Well, I'll pay a subscription for that. Well, because they know the alternative is build a PC for $5 grand. They're charging out the ass for the subscription service. They're charging $20-$30 a month. Okay, well, I guess I'll put money on that. Oh no, my internet's not good enough to be able to stream that. I guess I'll have to upgrade my internet to be an extra $50 to $100 a month just to be able to do that. It's just making things more and more expensive for the consumer, because you have no other choice. And that's what these big companies want. They want excuses to charge out the ass for these things because they want the money. And we'll pay for it because I want to play Black Ops 12.
But yeah. Black Ops 12, which is the 78th entry in the Call of Duty franchise.
Yeah.
No shade, Tina.
Not me.
No, that wasn't shade. I was hoping for like $10 under the table for like mentioning it, but alas.
Oh my god. Yeah, I want to circle back to the console thing where Jay, you asked what's going to happen to the new Xbox and the new PlayStation. And I think it's safe to assume that that's either going to hit a big pause because there's a big problem laying in front of it, or they're going to push forward and the adoption rate's going to be very low because it's going to be, I don't know, a couple thousand.
Which they probably won't want to do, right?
1,000.
Because they want people to adopt. So you mentioned it earlier, the idea of developers are now starting to make the shift into not really investing in like graphical and hardware and trying to push that front, but trying to optimize for current consoles so they can stay on the hardware they're on, because the adopters for the future hardware is going to be less in a way.
Usually when you're in a console cycle, the min spec that game devs rely on for PC is the one that can like fluctuate, right? Like sometimes you can push boundaries with PC gamers because they have better hardware than the consoles provide. I probably imagine that a lot of and usually it's AAA devs, I think, that spearhead the technological advancement and some chaotic stuff, ray tracing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They're probably gonna dial it back a bit. I can't imagine a world where they're gonna keep pushing forward with like the latest, craziest stuff. Like this works with the latest NVIDIA graphics card that's really expensive.
I want to ask a question here, kind of related to this console. You just made me think of this, Tina. Like, when it comes to like buying a new console, I'm curious to hear from people in the chat and both of you. Like, if it weren't for getting better hardware out of the console, if it weren't for more powerful GPU, processing power, etc., what is there that could be offered that would make you get a new console?
That's an interesting question.
It's more powerful.
Because when we were kids growing up, I bet there's a lot of kids that won't remember this because they weren't born, but when you bought the NES or SNES or Sega Genesis, it was always like, we went from 8-bit to 16-bit. And you're like, oh, shit, I need
bit
that.
wars.
Yeah. The graphics are so much better on this new one. And then, I don't know, like around maybe the last console or two, historically, like you weren't buying it because of like the graphic fidelity.
Its ability.
I think it was more about like, where are my friends going to be?
Right.
Friends and exclusives.
So Jay, what is that your answer to? Friends and exclusives?
For me, it's always friends. Gaming is an extremely social experience for me. I tend to only play games if my friends are playing it. And I do play a lot of single player games, but that's a lot for work and stuff like that. God, talk about fucking privilege. But the other thing is exclusives. I only got a PS4 because of Bloodborne. That's the only reason I got it. And then I stayed for the rest of the games and stuff like that. For instance, I will probably be buying a PS5 again because I had to sell mine when I moved to the States. I'll probably be buying one again, and it will probably be hundreds of dollars more than what I paid because GTA is going to be on it. Like, this will be the only way I can play GTA. So that exclusives are like the only reason for me because I'm a PC gamer and I have been for the last 15 years.
Yeah. And by the way, I see people in the chat, games, just exclusives, dev studios owners, a better variety of games, exclusives. Yeah. Well, I'm just kind of thinking in abstract here as far as like, maybe I'm projecting a little bit. I'm being too abstract, but like, why would you make a new console unless it were cheap enough to get the better hardware to produce better games? Right. But you don't really, if it's too expensive for a company to make a new console, and if the games don't really have much of a delta graphically, then why make a new console? Why get a new console? There need to be some sort of rationalization, not rationalization, an actual reason for doing it, which I wouldn't see if it's too expensive. Like if I pay $900 instead of $500 for a new console, but all I'm getting is like exclusives that are games that could have run on the old hardware because the new hardware is just such a minimal improvement, whatever. And video games, as we all know, are getting like less and less pushing the edge graphically. Now they're all stylized, right? Or there's basically no I don't really see too much of it in a further future, I guess, like a reason for new consoles to keep existing if it keeps getting as expensive as it does now.
Well, I'm going to go on a limb here and make an assumption that a lot of the gamers that buy a console don't necessarily invest in understanding the gaming hardware side of it. Right.
Yeah, we're just nerds.
We're just seduced by brand. We're just like, oh, it's the new PlayStation.
So they may not understand that the hardware jump is minimal. They may just think, oh, this is the new thing. I want the new thing.
Yeah. Go on. Yeah.
No. And then, getting back to the buying a console because of the gaming exclusives, that's sort of going away.
Exactly. That's what I'm. Yeah, and that's kind of
and the reason that's going away, I think it kind of really emerged when Microsoft bought Activision, right? And the only way for that deal to go through was if Microsoft promised all their first-party games would be on other consoles, like promising that Call of Duty would still be on PlayStation, and and then you see Sony's sort of pushing their first-party games onto PCs now as well. Like, didn't God of War come out on PC? And so there's no really the strong tie to like an exclusive is sort of dying.
what I'm
So
getting at,
yeah.
sorry to interrupt you, but like I'm too excited to
you're
share
not
this thought.
interrupting.
What I'm kind of getting at here is like at a certain point, we're kind of going to plateau because of the cost of RAM or the cost of GPUs or whatever, and also graphics aren't going to be that important. They already aren't. Also, like, I mean, I'm not very technically minded, but like when it comes to space for transistors on a GPU, like how many can you fit? Right? Like how good could it be? I'm ready for someone more technical to explain to me the right way to say what I just said. But you see what I'm saying? Like we're gonna kind of hit a plateau. And at that point, why are we making new consoles if the games can just run on the other hardware and we don't need to push the envelope? We're not having a new crisis level graphical breakthrough like we were in the early 2000s or before when it was, as you were saying, the bit war is like more dramatic. So I'm now wondering about this future where like there's no fucking reason to buy a console or no reason to make one either. I don't know.
Yeah, one of the interesting things is just technology in general, and I think pricing has and always will be the issue, which I believe it's Moore's law, which is the observation that technology doubles.
I don't know what Moore's
roughly
law
every
is.
2 years.
But does that apply anymore?
Okay.
I already asked
so
about
Moore's
that and I blanked.
Moore's law is the
mean, what is
observation
doubles?
by Intel
Yeah.
co-founder Gordon Moore that the number of transistors on a microchip doubles roughly every 2 years. I'm not sure if this
that
has
can't be
been
happening still, right?
disproved.
Yeah, what year was that? That's I guess what I'm also getting at here.
A long time ago, but I'm not sure. Some sweaty nerd in the chat. I love you, by the way.
Are there any
nerd,
sweaty
whoever
nerds?
that is.
Moore's law.
Help us out.
Yeah, I'm not
I'm
sure
a
if it's
designer, I don't
been
know shit.
disproven. But like, if Moore's law is consistent and has been, technology and the amount of transistors on a microchip has been doubling roughly every 2 years. Technology has been advancing. The technology to make games run bigger and better since the PS5 has grown exponentially, but it's not viable for them to make a console that can run that stuff because people aren't going to pay for it, especially now that the RAM and those chips are so expensive, right?
And like so I see what you're saying, right? Like, yeah, computers are that's a good point. Computers are way more powerful than consoles are, and consoles could catch up. But at the same time, like our games aren't looking that much better, right?
No.
So
It's almost like a catch-22 though, because like, why
Yeah.
would you want to invest in making your game look better if the hardware pricing and
Yes.
the gamers that own
Right.
it don't necessarily have it?
Yeah. And they
so
won't
that's kinda
pay
what I'm-
the thousands more just to be able to have, one more polygon on Nathan Drake's nipples.
Oh, great! Now I can see that. Nathan Drake. Oh wow, the areola detail is amazing.
It's the ear hair on Leon again. It's like, why is this here?
That's all. Imagine all the executives going like, "God, now they're noticing the ear hair. We have to cut back.
We
no
have to
more hardware.
Raise the RAM prices. Raise them.
Yeah, we have to
Raise them.
it's a
Take the hair out.
conspiracy. Gamers are
Take
too
the hair
angry at high graphical fidelity. They're like, women don't have hair on their mustaches. Leon doesn't have hair in his ear, and they're freaking the fuck out. So the executives are like, you know what? We got to slow shit down, pivot, make a move.
Pull the cord. Pull the RAM cord.
Oh my god!
Oh god. It's all terrifying.
It's basically, yeah. All I'm really getting at here is like this idea of like maybe we're closer to the end than I really thought. There doesn't seem to be much of an incentive.
The end?
Not the end. We're not all gonna. Okay, calm down. I don't mean the end. Maybe we're Tina's face. Maybe we're closer to the plateau of tech for gaming than I thought, and a disincentivization, if that's a word, to keep making new console generations. Like it's going to be even less clear what the leap is.
Well, look,
and if it is a little better graphically, the games aren't going to take advantage of it.
I don't
it's going to
see
be artificial exclusives.
AI completely going away. I don't see data centers completely going away for AI. At some point, manufacturers will be able to catch up to demand and things will chill out. I don't think there's going to be a gaming base where they're like completely informed on the latest and greatest in hardware. So I think consoles will still have a place, and I think that's why Steam getting into console is really smart of them. Basically, like
I think it's a good thing.
Just sold as like a a gaming toy
as a cube.
Yeah.
It's a pretty fucking cool and innovative idea. Like, let's give them a little credit. Maybe I'm a little bit of a Valve fanboy, being a Half-Life fanboy, but we can give them credit. It was like the Steam Deck was a pretty great idea. Oh, it's like a fucking handheld console, and it's going to be like a computer, and we hook it up to our service that we have that gets you your video games conveniently downloaded. I don't think they were the first to do that, but it was a pretty streamlined, innovative idea, and the Steam machine seems like a pretty solid follow-up to that, right? Mm-hmm. And I mean, I like it because, thinking about the way gaming has gone lately and how AAA is dealing with so many issues and how indie development is surging since the 2010s because of easily accessible engines, a lot of indie devs are going like, well, you know what? Like, we're not going to push the envelope as far as hardware goes. We're going to create an innovative design or an innovative art style, and getting that and then into the hands of consumers, not through going through the console certs, right? Which we as developers know are a real pain and difficult.
And expensive.
But instead inexpensive. Instead, it's just going to be like, well, I'll just throw it up on Steam, and all those people that now have little PC consoles in their living rooms, all these little cubes, all these Steam machines, Jay, then they'll be able to they'll be able to fucking run those indie games. So.
For listeners, what's a console cert?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, we should talk about that. You have to pass certain certifications when you decide, okay, we're going to put our game on the Xbox or the PlayStation or whatever.
Or Nintendo.
Yeah. And I mean, I can't, Tina's is probably more familiar with them because you ship more console games than me, but it's stuff like, I don't know, like on the loading screen, you have to make sure that.
The UI, right? You want to show a PlayStation logo instead of an Xbox logo. Just simple things like that. It could also be, how does
tutorialization for buttons.
How does your game handle when a new controller's plugged in? There's rules for that, right? Or if your game goes idle and your controller dies, like what happens in game? And each company has a different rule for that.
And you can submit to Xbox, to Microsoft, and say, okay, we passed all your certifications. We did all the things that you asked us to do in order to have permission to ship. And they can look and they can go, no, you missed these. Do it again. And that's expensive. So, that's what I'm saying is, I guess I'm mentioning as an aside here, a nice thing about the Steam machine is
they don't really have that, right?
To do that. Yeah, because it's just a little computer. And Steam games, there's some approval process. There's certain things you can't have in there. But I mean, it's going to be there for you, and it's going to be easier, and that's nice.
Yeah, I hope the GameCube does well. I hope
what's the GameCube called again, Jay? I forgot.
The Steam World, the
Steam World, Machine,
the Steam Machine,
the Stomp.
I don't know why I'm teasing you for it, Jay.
The Steam Machine.
The steamed ham. The steamed ham.
Aurora Borealis. This might be because I'm playing VTOL. The Steam sounds like an advanced missile. That
girl.
Drop the steamed ham.
You forgot. You didn't even mention the founder of Oculus or like these
Palmer Luckey
VR headsets, like what they're up to.
Yeah, Anduril. Anduril is making like autonomous fucking. It's they're a defense contractor basically, right? They're making drones and other warfighting technology. Anduril spelled Anduril, which is interesting because that guy. Is something happening to Jay?
He would like that.
What was I saying? Basically, the guy who made the Oculus headset eventually went, What's this happening in the back of the class? Hello?
Hey, sorry, sir.
That's.
I used to be a teacher. That took me back.
Did it? When I said, "What's this happening?"
Yeah.
Sorry, we're being assholes.
It's fine. All I was doing was pointing out it's interesting that the guy who made Oculus headsets is now working on making, drones for warfighting and shit.
For killing.
Yeah, that's what we're involved in.
Killing,
It's true. They are literally killing machines. Yeah. But we've had killing machines.
Do you feel like the gaming and like the war complex it's just kind of intersecting?
It has been. You see those clips in Ukraine of people who are taking fucking Steam Decks and using them as controllers for drones.
Oh shit!
That's what they should call.
Xbox.
You said war machine. That's what they should call the console. They should call it the Steam machine. That rolls off the tongue.
It does. It does. It's
The War Machine.
it's an interesting observation you make there, Jay.
Making a piece of hardware. It's like you can play games at home, or you can murder people in the Middle East. It's like, God damn.
It's up to you.
Wait, what's this? Thank you, Eric. Wow, you're so good at this, Eric. Yeah, there's I think it's a Ukrainian using a fucking Steam Deck to operate a drone. But that's like an uncommon one. I think it's mostly just like Xbox controllers and shit.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I mean, they've been recruiting Xbox
controllers.
gaming kids for a while.
Which like people look at that and they say like, oh wow, like there's a freakish connection between the gaming world and actually killing people with things that were supposed to be toys. I look at that and I go, that makes sense. Microsoft has spent decades, like game developers have spent decades trying to figure out a thing that you can hold in your hand and press buttons to do stuff. Of course it's gonna be the controller for like a tank or a drone or whatever. So
yeah, it would just make me feel uncomfortable if like firing the weapon with your virtual controller gave like haptic feedback. And I'm like, oh, my controller's vibrating when I'm firing a real life bullet, and they're like trying to gamify it. That would make me feel very weird. But like, you're interfacing with a thing. They've made good things to interface with, so it kind of makes
I see
sense.
what you're saying. I know, yeah.
I know Tina has a hard out in about 8 minutes, so I want to go through some of the donos before we wrap up. So to back up, Susiguru 2K gives €5. Thank you so much. It said, I grew my continuous locomotion VR legs into the radius because you mostly move slowly in that game, so it makes it easier to get used to.
Yes, that one was an adjustment period for me. I played that, and Boneworks. Those were kind of tough for me to get used to. But into the radius is slow. Acceleration is a big factor too. I find that if you don't have acceleration, you get less sick because you press forward and you're going instead of like slowly ramping up. So that's an interesting shout. Yeah, great game too.
For sure. Michael Hudson gives $10 and says, as a dev who was going to use the Steam Deck as their benchmark, do we assume that no one is buying hardware for the next 2 years and the Steam hardware surveys from last year are our lock-in target spec? Good question. It's terrible for devs. It's a safe bet, but what if you're wrong, you know? I guess if you err on the side of caution.
You're not going to be wrong. Okay, like all the kids that are going to be like GTA 6, you know, they're not going to update their PCs unless they're the privileged, right? I'm pretty sure their min spec is going to be pretty generous. Like it has to be. They're not going to alienate a large chunk of the player base. There's no way.
You talk about GTA 6's min spec?
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I don't see developers, like, if there were smart developers, wouldn't alienate.
You aim low.
The majority of play base. Right. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
You're gonna want to be where all the people are.
Right. I think. Is that a little
more? People means money.
People means charging money. People you can charge money to.
To answer Mikhail's question here. Money. To answer Mikhail's question, I don't know. You're supposed to just make what's so funny in the back of the class?
Just like we're doing the money joke, and you mid-sentence are just like money. He's just trying to get on the
not
joke.
As valuable as American bucks, but $10 is what Mikhail put forward, and this person expects answers, and
we're giving
laughing at them.
I like Mikhail.
Speaking of money, they spent their hard-earned cash. So let's try to answer the question and stop goofing off in the back.
Yes. So sorry, sir.
Sorry. I feel like
why are we always ending like this?
I don't know.
We've got 2 more donuts. Let's answer Mikhail's question.
Okay, sorry.
We've got 2 more after
the question is, do we assume that no one is buying hardware for the next 2 years and Steam hardware surveys from last year? I guess so, but like this sounds like a cop-out answer, but I feel like just you aim as low as possible. Right. And,
be safe and aim low.
There's not going to be a new.
That's not a good answer.
New PlayStation or Xbox in the next 2 years, probably.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So,
yeah, most likely.
Sorry, I went off about how important it was that you got your hard-earned answer, and I gave you a shitty one.
Well, I mean, it's good to pick a baseline.
That is the answer.
Develop for a min spec, right? And then you can always, if you have more time, do some crazy shit for more powerful PCs or consoles.
Oh,
Tina, were you
guess
quoting
who's
The Little
back?
Mermaid earlier when you said they want to be where the people are?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I had to just get
Whoa.
that off my chest. Okay, next question, Jay.
Mermaid chest. Sussy Guru 2K back again.
Mermaid chest.
€5. Thank you so much.
Scaly mermaid chest.
On the
Wait, do mermaids
Sussy
have
Guru
human
2K.
chests? No, Jay, hold on, please.
Okay, do mermaids have chests?
Can we
Yes,
just
famously
quickly-
so.
Is it like a human chest or is it scales?
No, because you are a mermaid. You're not half human, half mermaid. You are a mermaid. So mermaids have chests. They are
I really
humanoid.
hope people are just joining
Okay.
right now about this
But which
hardcore
part,
question. We're like,
which part
mermaid
turns
chests.
into scales? Is it like the navel down is scales?
I don't know the anatomy of mermaids. One, they're not real.
Thank you, Eric. Let's take a look at the best point of reference, a Disney
Okay.
movie. Okay, so it's like, well, it's not navel down.
You
She
should
was
ask-
like
Do you remember
lower.
that
It's like
time when I
pelvis.
said,
didn't
hey,
you
we've
pull up
got two donos
ChatGPT
left?
to
and
ask for this question.
No, fuck no. Do not burn water to ask whether they have. Because it'll just regurgitate some bollocks. I'm going through
Okay.
these donos.
You can
Tina has
continue.
2
I've
minutes.
got my answer. Thank you.
Sussy Guru 2K gives €5 and says, on the upside, maybe devs will finally start optimizing their games more instead of relying on gamers buying new hardware. I mean, I dig it.
I mean, it's a nice thought. I agree. Like, it would be great if games were optimized better. And I guess that's one of those things, just like tutorials and certain other aspects of game development. Like, it's easy for a dev to go like, I'll work on that later because it's
do that later.
hard and like annoying and it's not creative. But I don't know. I guess that's the hope. We'll have to see. We've certainly seen over the years, like, games don't require as crazy. We don't have like we had. I was just talking about earlier. It's not like the Crisis days, right? Where you better get a new PC every couple years.
Yeah.
So
That was
we're
the
already kind of
benchmark back in the day.
Benefiting from that, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Majesta 12 gives €6. Wow, what a weird amount. I love it though. And I also love this message. It says, I just bought a Playdate. What's the future on that?
You know, I don't
Mate,
even know what
crank
this
that
was,
shit.
and I had to look it up. And you
Sounds
crank,
pornographic.
It's the crank.
You crank it to power it up.
Playdate.
You crank it to do things mechanically. A lot of things like have a crank in the game. It's a weird one.
Wait, I'm a little confused. Oh, this is a gaming console that you crank.
Yes.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah. It's not a gaming
Okay.
console that you can use while you crank. It is a gaming console with a crank.
Tina, is Jay making a masturbation joke? I'm a little lost.
What? No.
Crank.
A crank is when you.
I thought you were
Never
making a
mind.
jerk off joke.
No.
Okay.
I was.
Oh, you were.
Yeah.
So I'm not weird. I perceived that correctly.
Yeah, a crank is colloquially, it's also known
Crank is
as
like
having a
having a wank,
cheeky
right?
crank.
It's like-
No, it's like it's when you have a wank but you're crying. It's a crank.
Oh,
It's-
okay.
You do
Wow.
both.
When you're crying.
Who invented that term?
Yeah,
Is that
it's a
British one?
crank.
Are you guys crying while you masturbate regularly?
No, but you can do, and that is a crank. It's not a wank.
Okay.
It's a crank. So this is a console that has a crank, not that you can use while you crank. It's not a one-handed console.
Okay, I got it. So this is a console that has nothing to do with masturbation. You just crank it.
You need two
use some
hands,
power.
one to crank, one to hold.
Right. It's impossible
On
to
the
crank
console.
while you're on the crank. I mean, on the
Yes.
Playdate, which you crank.
Yes.
It's just to power it up, right? That's why it's there.
I
No,
believe.
it's a mechanically. It has a thing. It's not like a wind-up torch. You
Oh, is it like a
do things
button?
mechanically with the crank. It's like, oh, open the door, turn the crank.
Oh, I see what
Do
you're
the
saying.
thing.
It's a control. That's an aspect.
Yeah,
of
it's
the
like a control thing. Yeah.
I see, like a fishing controller. Thank
So
you.
look, in that he's moving with the crank. He's like,
Look at
oh,
my
I'm moving the
face.
character with the
that doesn't
crank.
feel very. Yeah, you got a great face on. This doesn't feel
Okay.
very. Go on. Sorry.
Wait, Speakeasy, $1. Thank you. That's a very specific amount. I'm even going to reach over and like that. Thank you, Speakeasy. Hey, Tina, I know you've got a hard out. I'm gonna do my best to wrangle this and wrap up.
We were just getting to the good part too.
I know.
I don't.
How dare you, Tina?
understand
How dare you
why
have
crank.
responsibilities? Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Everyone in chat, really appreciate all of your donations and all of your wonderful comments and insights. This episode has been about, is hardware fucked in 2026? And what's the consensus, gang? Maybe.
The consensus for me is like VR actually might get kind of interesting. The Steam frame, we'll see how that goes. Great ergonomics. You could actually just play flat screen games. The controllers are designed like console controllers. There could be something pretty innovative and cool there. Same with the Steam machine. But other than that, dude, I don't know. And maybe even
it's safe to assume if you built a PC last year or in the last 3 years, you're fine for the next 3. And also, if you're gonna purchase a new console, you want to do it sooner than later because it's very possible that the price of that console will go up as time progresses in the next year or two. It was the Nintendo president in Famitsu like a week or two ago that would not go on record saying that they wouldn't raise prices on the Switch 2 because
they will.
Probably will, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter how innovative the tech is, right? If it's too fucking expensive. So as cool as and excited as I am for the Steam frame,
as good as the games are, right?
Yeah, and if you do still want to have that itch to upgrade your PC, and you can, bundles are a great way to go. With the CPU and all that good stuff that comes with it. So don't just buy one piece. Look at bundles. Look at pre-built PCs.
Wait to see how much the GameCube is. Honestly, that might be one of your best.
Or play old video games or get into modding, right? If you need to extend the life of the games that you have now, go check out some cool mods.
That's the thing. I think we all agreed on is that the latest and greatest games aren't going to leave you behind in the next year or two.
There's lots of games out right now. There's plenty of video games to enjoy. So that's a saving.
We've just had one of the best years in gaming with releases. It's been insane. I mean, the moral is if you're struggling and it's too much and the future of gaming hardware is really upsetting you, just lay down face first in the dirt and just have a crank.
Have a crank. I thought you were leading towards something like, remember, everybody, don't buy beyond your means like people used to do or still do with houses. Just be happy with the hardware you have and make the most of it. But
protest your local AI data center. Just fucking do something. Also, Sovereign gives €5 and says, thank you so much, and says, I think that entire crank conversation earned a $5. We can feed Ludo. We're good.
Nice.
All right.
That was pretty good. We had a good flow going on. That was a real who's on first energy.
From mermaids and cranks to consoles. Great.
The mermaid question was legitimate. I mean, you guys made a big deal out of it. I just didn't remember how they usually depict mermaids. But people in the chat were helpful, so I'm thankful for that. Also, did you guys ever see Crank, the movie?
No, I gotta go.
Yeah. Tina has to leave.
You have to go.
She said he had a hard out 3 minutes ago. So
I'm sorry. I'm fucking around.
Tina, go. We'll wrap up. See you later, Tina.
Bye, Tina.
See you later. Bye, Tina.
Bye.
Okay, Tina's gone. Oh, had the rewind.
Eric. Wow.
The rewind transition.
Wait, what was that? Oh, I didn't. Okay.
It was like a graphic from another podcast. Called Rewind. Yeah. But hey, okay. So
we had a good talk. We had a good talk.
And for you, just remember, for mermaids, tits up top, flips down bottom. Tits and flips. Just got to remember that.
Okay. I figured that much. I just didn't know where the line was. I thought it might be at the neck.
I think it's like at the waist, right?
No, you're right. It was with Little Mermaid, who's like a good point of reference. It's at the waist.
I would be disturbed, man, if do you know how elderly men wear their trousers up at their nipples, really high? Imagine a mermaid that's fish up to the nips and then...
Whoa.
Hey, okay.
What do we got here, Eric?
It's a Warcraft thing. It's from World of Warcraft.
Is that, well, she still has human breasts.
She's fish up to the waist. She's got a corset on. Yeah. I'm talking straight up 3/4 fish. You just arms and head.
Fish. Oh no! Okay, sorry. This came up again in the chat. Watch Splash.
Okay.
What's Splash? I'll look it up. Should we stop?
Actually, yeah, we should stop. We should leave. Hey, everyone in chat, thank you so much for watching. Thank you to Eric in the background, as always. Thank you to Mikey and the ghost of Tina. I and all of the chat truly appreciate you guys. There we go. Imagine that, but a fish. Oh, it's gone. Bring it back, Eric. Thank you. Imagine that, but a fish.
Hubba.
Okay. Thank you so much for watching, guys. We will see you in the next episode, which will be in 2 weeks. We're on schedule now, so we'll see you then. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.